I'm working on now is a couple of different projects. I have a short film that I shot back in September that I'm currently in post-production on, trying to get finished and then eventually marketed and onto film festivals. I am also working on a couple of scripts. One is a TV show pilot. The other one is kind of a comedy, horror-ish script that's along the lines of like Shaun of the Dead. So it's a lot of ridiculousness and antics. And then I also have kind of like a personal script. I wrote it about what it's like being a middle-class Black kid, because we see a lot of Black stories out there, but I haven't really seen a story that's similar to my own, because I didn't grow up. My parents are from Northside Chicago, but I didn't grow up in Northside Chicago. I didn't grow up in Minneapolis. I grew up in Brooklyn Park and then Champlin, Minnesota, where we were like one of 10 other Black families in the entire area, and that's basically all I knew my entire life. So this story is a lot more deep, a lot more personal, and I just want to show another aspect of the Black experience. I started writing it just after I came here, about 2 years ago, and that was around the time that Moonlight came out. And I had also watched another film called Gene of the Joneses, and there was a lot of Black narratives, but I still wasn't seeing something that resonated completely with me. And I didn't want, there's a lot of Black people out here. There's a lot of different Black stories, a lot of Black narratives, but we seem to be stuck in certain ones, certain stereotypes. We're either from the hood, which I am not. I have never actually been to the hood. I don't know what that's like. But that's one side of the story. You still have this other side, this middle class, that's kind of seen but not really heard. And that's the part that I want to fill, because this is my story. This is what I went through as someone who had to spend their life around a whole bunch of different cultures, but most of it being white. And I just wanted to tell my story from my perspective so that other people who are just like me, who I grew up with, have something that resonates with them as well. A couple of years ago, out of the blue, I just decided I was going to start doing posts on Facebook. Every single day, I posted something about Black history that people didn't know. Things that I didn't know, things that I found interesting. Like, I had heard of the Green Book, but I didn't really know what it was and the history of it. I have heard of sundown towns, but I didn't really know what a sundown town was. But then there's all these inventions that Black people did. The first Black millionaire of Black cowboys, which obviously we're here, so obviously there were Black cowboys, but I didn't know anything about Black cowboys. We've seen Django Unchained, but I don't want to say that's historically accurate. I'm sure there's a lot more to the story, but there is a lot of Black history that we haven't heard of, a lot of Black history we haven't explored, and that kind of started my own journey into writing the story about myself and being a middle-class Black kid, because I realized that my experiences are not the same as everybody else's, but they're just as valid. And I wanted to express the kind of unknowing of what it meant to be Black, because we have code switching in which, you're with one group of Black people and you have to talk a certain way, but then when you're a group of white people, you have to talk a different way. And I did that my entire life, going back and forth between how I should talk, how I should act, being called an Oreo when I was really just educated, dealing with my hair and whether or not it should be braided, whether or not it should be straight. I permed it for years and then finally decided to go natural, but natural had nothing to do with, you know, had nothing to do with suddenly, you know, black power. It just had to do with, I'm tired of straightening my hair. Like, it's all these things, and I explore a lot of these things in the script. Like, this character kind of goes through this journey. It takes place the summer after college, and because I wanted to be a coming of age story where it's that moment where you're trying to decide what is it that you want to do with your life, who am I, what purpose do I have here? And that's kind of what this character is exploring, and a lot of it is pieces of my own life seen through this character's eyes. No one's going to see your stories until you've actually put them on paper and put them out there. If they're just inside of you, nobody knows what type of potential that you have. And to be a writer, it doesn't mean you get paid to be a writer. It doesn't mean that your name is up in lights. To be a writer simply means to write. So you have to start there. You have to start with writing. You have to sit down with a pen and paper or on your computer or wherever you do it and just start. That sometimes is still something I struggle with. It's just starting. I have all these ideas in my head, but until I actually start fleshing them out, they're just ideas. So no matter what your story is, no matter what you think it is, whether or not you think it's valid, start writing it.